Off the Page by Inorai. Read by Abag Vicodin. The bus shuddered its way around a turn, rocking its riders from side to side. I didn't let it bother me, turning one page after another. Jessica was one of my best friends. We'd met in college, two extra actors in the already rich cast of our group of friends. The two of us didn't have a lot in common, really, but it was never difficult to talk to her. The fact that both of us were already in established relationships made it all the easier. One of those interests that we never shared was her love of reading. She was a bookworm. It seemed every time I saw her, she had her nose pressed into a different text, some new novel. It just wasn't my thing. I didn't see the appeal of it, but she was my friend, and after college, it seemed more important to hold on to those connections wherever I could. That was my thought, anyway, when Jessica proudly announced over Facebook that she had finished writing a novel all of her very own and was getting published. I hadn't even known she was writing, but that was a hell of an accomplishment. I wanted to share it with her, like any friend. Books weren't that expensive, and I could read one just this once. I will admit that my cheeks turned a little red when I saw the cover of the book lying on the shelf in the bookstore. I had not expected a book like that. But she was my friend, damn it. Which left me on the bus, riding steadily towards home. Page after page turned dutifully under my fingers as I worked my way onwards, but something didn't sit quite right with me. The further in I read, the more it sank in just what was so wrong. The main character being so lovingly described in this sultry romance novel was standard fare for the genre. Tall and broad, with dark hair. Reading that really didn't set off too many alarms, despite that I'd been first pick for football all through high school for my early growth spurt. The fact that Samantha, my wonderful girlfriend, often joked that she only kept me around for my thick mane of rich black hair was simply not relevant. It was a trope, nothing more. My stomach started rolling as Jessica detailed with vivid imagery the exact ice blue shade of his eyes. Eyes like a wolf, the narrator said. Jessica had told me on multiple occasions I had wolf eyes, whatever that meant. But that didn't mean anything, I told myself. It was just more romance novel jargon, standard fare. It wasn't surprising that Jessica used the same vocabulary in her speech that she did her writing. The next page turn left me staring at the words lying in neat rows before me, though. I had a tattoo. On my arm. It was pretty big, and not exactly something I tried to hide, so most of my friends had seen it before. A stylized eagle, matching an identical one that my brother had. She wrote about it with such clarity. Maybe I was being stupid about the whole thing. It was just a stupid tattoo. But even as I tried to convince myself of that, I knew it wasn't going to work. There was no way. Jessica had written me into a romance novel, as the main love interest. My cheeks more than a little red. I slowly turned the book over and started flipping through the pages at the end. It slammed shut a moment later as my heartbeat began to race. Definitely the main love interest. My mind raced. Jessica knew I was going out to buy her book. She was supposed to come over in a few hours and sign it, damn it. I had said I was going to read as much of it as I could before then. What was I going to do? Did Jessica have a thing for me? But she had Greg, and I had Sam. She knew that, and she'd never... Adrenaline shot through my veins as all the little clues she dropped over the last years took on new, terrifying context. Afternoons spent lounging around when she seemingly wanted nothing more than just to watch Netflix with me. Invites to go get coffee. Jessica had a thing for me. The thought horrified me. Sam was going to read this book too. What was I going to do? The bus dropped me off at the stop in front of my house. I drifted towards the front door in a cloud of horror. I needed to tell Jessica I wasn't interested. I needed to warn Sam. God, I needed to get out in front of this before I... The key I stuck into the lock didn't turn a deadbolt. It was already unlocked. I froze. The neighborhood wasn't high crime or anything. Did I just forget to lock it before I headed out? Cautiously, I pulled it open and stepped inside. Everything looked like it was still there. The TV was still hanging from the wall, all our consoles and valuable electronics waiting on their shelves. I swore under my breath as I exhaled all of the tension that had been building up. Pulling my coat off, I made a beeline for the bathroom. I'd feel better after a cold shower. A really cold shower. The click of the door locking in the room behind me brought me up short. I spun on my heel, coat flying out beside me, and stopped. Greg stood by the door, swaying slightly. An open bottle was in one hand, a knife teetered in the other. "Sit down, Jake," he slurred, gesturing towards my couch. The bright pink corner of a book was barely visible, jammed into his pocket. "Oh, hey, Greg," I said, my mind racing. How'd you get in here? Listen, Sam's off work and she's supposed to be home any minute, so you should—" Sam's key dangled from his pointer finger as he waved it at chest level. It clattered against the blade of the knife. My heart sank. He grinned humorlessly. She ain't coming. She's got friends, you see. Friends who read books. Shit. Listen, Greg, Sit down, he spat. I flinched back, trying to remember where I'd put my cell phone. Too far to be of use, anyway. I sat. He staggered forward, his face inches from mine. Let's talk, shall we? About you and Jessica. Thank you for listening.